and Ulu. We're all here, and tonight we'll be discussing a very important topic. Regardless of what you want to do with your life, in any endeavor, in the beginning, it comes down to making a decision. And when it's something really important in your life, that kind of decision is a little bit different than, you know, I'm going to have a cheeseburger for lunch. It requires a little bit deeper commitment. It requires a little bit more oomph than a regular decision. And we're going to talk about that tonight and what that decision really entails and what it is and how do you make it stick and what it's meant for these fine folks that are here this evening. So we're all going to take turns, and I'll probably just come in after each one and make some comments based on what they've said, and then we'll probably have some final comments at the end. But making a decision to really change your life and to do something with it, whether that's get a new job, to buy a house, to start this particular business, of course, that's, you know, what we're going to lean heavily upon. Before we start, I just want to say right up front, income disclaimer. If we're talking about any amounts of money here tonight or money that anybody's made, that's not to say that you're going to make that much money, because you might join up and you might do nothing, and if you do nothing, you're going to make nothing. It's just that simple. So understand that the money that you make out of this business is up to you and the effort that you put in. The income disclosure is available at the company's website, www.empowernetwork.com/income.php. You can go there and you can see an income disclosure that actually gets updated every 24 hours, which to me is the most incredible thing ever. I've never seen an income disclosure like that on anybody else's website. But anyway, back to making the decision. What is it to make a decision? How do you make that decision? What has it meant to you to have made the decision to be here and be a part of this business? Who wants to go first? Any volunteers? Daniel doesn't want any part of that. I'm not doing that. All right, I'll go first. I'm gonna tell a story up front about something not related to this business, and that'll give you guys a chance to think. When I was younger, I used to chew my fingernails. Just chewed them off, and they were all just bloody and gross. The worst chewed up fingernails you could ever imagine to have in your life. And I decided that I was going to quit biting my nails, so I tried every trick in the book that everybody tries. It's like, okay, from now on, I'll never bite this one ever again, but I can bite all the rest. That's fine. And then, like a week later, I add another finger. I'll never bite these two ever again, and then I bite all the rest. And, you know, it goes on like that until I can't bite this hand at all, but I can bite this one. And then, like, something stressful happens, and I bite them all, and they're all gone again. Because I hadn't really made the decision to stop. At that point, you know, I said I'd made a decision, but I hadn't really made a decision deep down inside in my gut. And, you know, I tried the hot sauce thing one time, and all that did was burn the crud out of my fingers. Didn't keep me from biting them. I tried just all kinds of different wacky stuff, you know, putting something over my fingers, like wearing socks on my hands to keep me from biting it. That didn't work. I just bit them right through socks. It was gross. I even tried dirty socks, and I threw the dirty socks. Not really. That's a joke. But one day, I was looking at my fingers, and I really saw them. I really saw them like everybody else saw them. For the gross, bloody, chewed up stubs that they were. And I saw them with those real eyes. And it disgusted me. And I said to myself, I don't ever want my fingers to look like that ever again. And from that day forward, I have never bitten my nails. Ever. And I just quit, just like that. Because I made the decision, a true, deep down in my soul decision, that I wasn't going to do it anymore. And that's a similar kind of decision that we have made concerning this business. My wife and I, Rosa, she's over there in the kitchen doing dishes right now. We decided that we were going to do this business no matter what. And an event rolled around. They have some very powerful events in this company. And I apologize, there's some stuff in the air back here. This is killing my eyes. There was an event, and we decided that we were going to go to that event. We didn't have a way to do it. It wasn't really in the budget. We didn't know how we were going to get there. We didn't know where we were going to stay. We didn't know anything about it. But one day we just decided that we were going to go because we wanted to go. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we did a little pinky promise. We are going to the event no matter what. And from that point, things started to happen to make that possible. The ticket prices dropped. I found an awesome hotel deal online. We figured out how to get transportation that was functional enough to get there and back. Things just fell into place, and we went to this event, and all the bills still got paid because we had made a decision, a deep down committed decision that was followed by action. Maybe that's the key, that made it happen. And since then, we have made other decisions. One of the decisions that we have made, and it was a personal choice on our part, it's not to say that you're going to have to do this if you join this business, to gain some capital for our business and get a little foot up and get going a little faster, we decided to raise some money by selling our furniture, which we have done. I still have a dining room table sitting in there that's for sale. But we've sold our kids' bedroom furniture. We've sold all of our living room furniture, the sofa, the love seat, the recliner. We sold all the coffee tables. Sold pretty much everything. I've got a TV cabinet over there, and I've got a ratty couch that was down in our basement before, and we brought that up, and that's what we're sitting on now. There's ratty couch. And then as you look around the room, there's like some of the dining room chairs sitting around there, and there's nothing else. If you look behind me, there's no table back there. That's my tripod that I make my videos with. It's going, and we're raising that money because we made that commitment in our hearts that we were going to do it, and we were going to do it our way and on our terms. And that's just, again, the way that we've chosen to do it. You don't have to sell all your furniture, but we wanted that. We wanted to clear out all of the old and make space for the new, literally. In our minds, in our hearts, and physically in our home. And so that's why we made that choice. And again, it's working. Things are coming together. They're magically happening, whatever you want to call it. Those of you that are proponents of The Secret that are watching, you know the power of a thought and the things that you think and the emotions that you put into that. And for us, the entire journey has been insanely magical, for lack of a better word. And for us, that's what the power of a decision has meant for us. So at this point, is there anybody else now who feels inspired to share a story or a thought on making a decision?
I could go ahead.
Go
You
ahead.
actually, you mentioned something. Well, you mentioned a few things that kind of got my thoughts going. Things happening magically. Yes, absolutely, they do happen magically. You don't know exactly how the messages come to you, how events happen, but they happen in a way that they kind of collaborate on your path because you've made that decision. But you reminded me of something. You actually spoke of the event also. The event that you were at was Denver. The event before that was Chicago. At the Chicago event, Vic Streishaus, who's a top earner at Empower Network, was on stage. He was speaking. And it was very interesting because we know him as a top earner. He's a millionaire. But he talked to us about when he was broke and when he had to make a decision in order to make things happen for him. And what happened is that he had borrowed $30,000 from someone. He had put in something like $20,000 in a business opportunity, something that wasn't working out yet. He was kind of stuck. His wife was scared. You know, you're down to your last 10,000. Do we know that your opportunity is going to work? And he had to make a decision. So what do I do with that last 10,000? Do I continue? Do I follow my dream and make this opportunity work for me? Because right now I'm in debt. I have nothing. I'm supposed to support my family, and here I am, pretty much at the end of my rope. And he made a decision. He said the important thing about that decision was that there could not be a plan B. That's it. This was it. There was no other way that things could happen. The opportunity was there. He was going to make it work no matter what. That was his decision. No plan B. And that's how he started making it work. Things started happening magically because he decided that there was no way whatsoever that this plan would not work. It had to work. And it was a very, very clear decision for him, the decision that made a world of difference for him. And that's where he started gaining momentum and built his business from opportunity to opportunity. And here he is today, the top earner at Empower Network, now deciding that his monthly goal is $1 million. Now he's gotten the hang of making this kind of decision now, right? So he knows when he sets his mind to something, the decision is the most important element of the whole equation.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. And I remember that story. He told that story in Denver as well. And yeah, he had that $30,000, and he sunk 20 into that whatever business venture that was failed or failing, and he had 10 grand left, and that's all he had left. And he's like, wow, what am I going to do with this? And you're definitely right about the no plan B. That's another reason that we've chosen to clear out our house. We're going to be sitting on this nasty old ratty couch and, eating dinner on TV trays and sleeping on the floor. We got mattresses, but no bed. So we're sleeping on our mattresses on the floor. Pretty sparse conditions to remind me that the old is gone. This is the new, and we're going to make this thing work no matter what, whatever it takes. I've gone without a lot of sleep since I've started. I've cut down from the usual 8 hours down to most nights like 5 or 6, if that, because I'm sitting here at the computer. I'm watching all of the training materials. I'm learning from the best. People who have done this, people who have walked the path already, millionaires in their own right, literally, and they have put together training materials for us to follow and made it very, very simple. And I am following in those footsteps and learning as much as I can, as quickly as I can, to be able to take off. And that's why the furniture's not here. No plan B. There is only plan A. And, I would throw this out to everybody that might be watching. When you were a little kid, did you say, I want to be whatever you are now? I want to be a middle manager in a corporation and I'm being used and overworked for not enough money. I want to be a minimum wage worker at a department store. I want to be a supervisor at a call center and make $10 an hour. I want to be whatever and be overworked and make somebody else rich while I live paycheck to paycheck. No, that wasn't anybody's goal. That wasn't anybody's dream. So why do you accept it now? Why? You're better than that. You were made for more than that. Don't settle for less. Don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat your family. Wake up. Make a decision to make your life better. If it's not this opportunity, then pick something else. I don't care. Do something. I can tell you from my own personal perspective, I like what we got going on here. I encourage you to go ahead and click that button below and go ahead and go join up. Just take some action. Make that decision and take some action. Speaking of taking some action, Ulu, I know that you have recently made some decisions and made some commitments. And I know in Denver, I sat next to you at that table, and we told you what we were going to do, and we came home and we did it. And you sat there, and we were talking about the next product that we were going to buy. It happened to be $1,000 product, and you had said, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And then I saw, just like, what was it, a week or two ago, you did it. And obviously, at some point, you made a decision. Tell us about that.
Um, I've made a lot of decisions. Uh, this I really like this topic of making a decision, because when you make one huge decision like that, it's kind of like the linchpin theory. Okay, I'm in history, so I'm going to use a historical reference that everybody knows. Is the assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand was the linchpin that led to World War II. Okay, that's historically recognized, right? When you make a decision in your life, it's like that linchpin. When you make a huge decision, it changes everything else. It changes the course of everything else. So I've made decisions in my life, but I never considered them to be difficult decisions. Like, I go to school. I'm in graduate school. And for a lot of people to do something like that, that's a huge decision. That was never a huge decision for me. For me, that was an easy decision because it was something that I wanted to do. Getting into Empower Network, that was a big decision. That was not an easy decision for me because I'm not a salesman. I never thought I was a salesman. I never thought I could ever sell anything, ever. I never thought of myself as convincing, or even, a lot of regular people don't even like to talk to me because I'm too much of a brainiac. So deciding to do Empower Network was a huge decision for me. But when I got in, I had made the decision when I got in. I said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work. Now, there are all kinds of other factors in life that make you come to a decision like that. And there were other extenuating factors, my financial situation at the time. But I made that decision nonetheless. I was pressured by financial pressures, but still, I made that decision. And I said, I'm going to do this, and it is going to work. And making that one decision is, now that I'm on the inside of it, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Everything that I've learned as a result of making that decision has changed my life completely. Completely. I'm in graduate school, but I actually made it through all of my bachelor's. I made it through all of my master's without ever finishing an entire book. I never did. And now I'm in a PhD program, and this is the book that I have to read for this week. I have to read it all in 1 week. Look at how huge that is. I'm almost done. I read almost the entire thing in 2 days. I never would have been able to do that before I joined Empower Network, because what Empower Network has taught me is how to focus and how to do whatever you need to do in order to learn how to focus. And that's just one example of the many things that I've learned as a result of being in Empower Network. It boils down to this idea of making decisions. Once I decided to get in, and I decided that no matter what, I was going to make it work. And then that meant that once I got in, I had to decide to do what I needed to do to make it work. And that's a series of other decisions. I'm going to learn how to focus more. That's a decision. I'm going to learn how to blog more. That's a decision. I'm going to learn how to market. That's a decision. But you make these decisions because it's part of that overall larger decision that I'm going to make it work no matter what. Just like Mark was talking about selling all his furniture. That's a series of little decisions that he and Rosa made to say, I'm going to make this work no matter what. And when you make those decisions, it affects the whole rest of your life. I am becoming a better student than I ever was before, because I joined Empower Network and I made a decision to do whatever it takes. And that decision has been applied to my schoolwork as well. I made a decision, I'm going to finish this 1.5-inch thick book in 2 days. I made the decision, and so now I'm doing it. And these are things that I never realized before that I wasn't making such decisions. I remember looking at a book like this before I joined Empower Network. I only joined in May. That means I had almost a whole school year last year where I never finished an entire book. And I remember looking at these books and saying, there's no way I'm going to get through that in a week. And so I would read, and I would read, and it would be like an agonizing experience. But here I am, as a result of this training, this decision-making, I'm looking at this 1.5-inch thick book, and I'm like, yeah, I can do it in 2 nights. And I'm almost done. I read half the book last night in about 4 hours. I would never have done that before. So decision making, it's very, very powerful. And like Mark said earlier, it doesn't matter what you apply it to. Just do it. Your whole life is about deciding what you want and then deciding that you're gonna get it no matter what. And ever since I've joined Empower Network, I've done that with everything that I want. Not just this business, not just school. I've done it with personal issues too. And it's worked. And like Mark and Carmen said, when you decide to do that, things just happen, and it's just like magic. I can't explain to you how all of a sudden I can read a 1.5-inch thick book in 8 hours. I have no idea how that's possible, because it wasn't before, but now it is. Things happen when you make a decision. And that's my share.
And that's an awesome share. I'm ready to sign up. I'm pushing the button. You got me. No, that was really awesome. You brought out some really key points there about making decisions and being able to do things that you weren't normally able to do. Number one, you're in a doctorate program. That's something that I personally would never even imagine to take on. To me, that's just monumentally colossal. And so that in itself points out how something that one person thinks is really hard is really easy for another person, because that person decided that's what they wanted to do. And in that decision, it got easy. Once you decide, just like my fingernails, once you really decide, it's easy. It is no longer difficult. You're climbing the mountain as long as you are thinking about making the decision. As soon as you decide, it's an easy slide down the other side to success.
Absolutely.
Making that decision makes it easy. And you said something else really interesting too. You said, I'm not a salesman. And so you were worried about having to do the sales in this business. Number one, it's online. We're placing a lot of ads. We're not talking to people one-on-one. We're not in somebody's living room drawn on a whiteboard. We're not driving an hour away to a restaurant to meet with one person. We're not, to spill coffee on our presentation book while we're there. I've done that before with other programs, and let me tell you, that is a hard, grinding way to go in a program like that, to do those kinds of things. And we don't do any of that here. It's all online. We're placing some ads, relatively easy stuff. Now, I've had to learn a lot about the internet because, I did email and I went to Facebook. That's all I ever did before I came. And so you were talking about learning. I have learned a lot, both personally in my personal development. I know my relationship with Rosa is better. If she was out here, she would tell you the same thing because we're united in our goal to make this business succeed. And that has brought us closer together and more in harmony as a couple. So just the price of admission was worth it for me right there, let alone anything else. So we made our decision. We're on our way. And back to the salesman thing. You said, I'm not a salesman. Well, in fact, you are. Everybody's a salesman. Every day of your life, at some point, you say something to someone else about, oh man, that new restaurant across town, I was over there the other day. It was so good. I had this steak. It was this thick, and it was all juicy and tender, meat falling off the bone. It was so perfect. It had some kind of light seasoning on it. It was just so delicious. I mean, I hope your mouth is watering now because we do that kind of stuff all the time. Oh, I just saw that new movie. Did you see that new movie? It was fantastic. That was the greatest movie ever. You got to go see that movie. Every time you do that, every time you recommend something to a friend, my massage therapist, she's the best. Oh, it's the greatest massage ever. Best thing I ever did for myself. Here's her card. You need to go see her. You're not even paid for those endorsements. You do it every day, and you're not getting paid for it. You're online every day, and you're not getting paid for it. We are. You're not. Not that much more to do to get paid for it, really. It's pretty simple, especially when you make that decision and that commitment to do those things every day that are required to be successful. All right, Daniel, you've had some time to think about it. You're prepared. You're ready to share. He's pumped up. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Daniel!
Well, thanks for the intro, Mark. You guys had some really good points as far as making decisions. Let's start off with this. Let's think about a decision that you made just recently in your life that changed everything for you. And if you can't think of anything, how about you make a decision right now, and me and the panel that you see here will help you make that decision. If you want to live a better life, if you want to stop making the other person rich, if you want to be in a better place, put your family above the rest, how about you make a $25 decision and click on a button on the bottom. You are here for a reason. You made a decision to watch this. What is holding you back from clicking the button? It's $25 to start. With the panel that you see in front of you right now, you can only make money. Now, there is the income disclaimer. Like Mark said earlier, if you do nothing, you make nothing. If it doesn't matter what you do, there's not a business here or there that you can just sit there and not do anything and not make anything. So in the beginning, I would like to do a 90-day challenge to all of you guys out there watching this. If you're on here watching me, or when you do see this and watch this, give you 90 days. Put in your $25. After the 90 days that you are in this business, and you follow the step-by-steps, the 8 core commitments that you have to follow, and then when it comes to the 90 days, if you don't make any money, go ahead and stop. Go ahead and quit. Because the only thing you've ever done in your life was quit. And that's all that you've done. You haven't succeeded in anything because you quit. That's a decision that you have to make. And that decision of quitting is what you're doing. Now, if you don't know my story, I'm working a 9 to 5 like everybody else, you know? And when I first saw the Empower Network on Facebook, everyone's skeptical when you first get in. when I seen that, I knew that I had to make a decision to better my life, to better my family's life, and the opportunity was right there in front of you. Now nobody told me, "Oh, you got to get in, you got to do this." No, I stumbled upon it. I just went and looked at someone's comment, checked it out, and then I watched the video. I got in. It took me 24 hours after watching the video to get in. Now, that decision I made was one of the best decisions I have ever made in a long time. The reason why I say that is because within the first month, I made my money back. I decided not to go to Austin when they had the Austin event. But when I saw everybody at the Austin event, I made a decision to go to the Chicago event. Nothing had stopped me. I already made the decision. Like everyone that you see here, we all struggle at one point. I didn't know how I was going to get to Chicago. I didn't know how I was going to get the money to stay in a hotel room. I didn't even know how I was going to eat and get food and whatever I need for the trip. After I made that decision, I bought my ticket. After I bought my ticket, everything just started falling into place. And that's what the leaders will tell you. As soon as you make that one step, you take that step, everything falls into place. So before Chicago, I had bought my ticket to the event. Then someone had gave me the money to go on the trip to take the airfare, so I did that. And then on one of the hangouts, one of our team leaders, Tony Leta, he went ahead and said, "Hey, you could stay in my hotel room." That's crazy. The guy's never met me before. But yet, we were talking to each other like we were like brothers, like we were best friends. This is the kind of team that you want to work with. This is the kind of the spirit that you get from this team here is uplifting. This is not to bring you down. This is to help you up. This is the foundation. Like when you see the mannequins in the store, they're held up by two little rods on the bottom of their feet. They're being held up. That's what this team is all about. They hold you upright, and they push you up to move up in this business. And you have to take it the way you want to take it. You can only go up. Now, if you don't want to do anything about it, then don't expect us to back you up at all times. You have to step up and do what you have to do. This is not doing what you want to do. If you want to succeed in anything, you have to do the work. No one's going to come over here and slap $1 million on the table and say, "Here you go, you made it." That's not going to happen. So, got to Chicago. I'm telling you, it was the most life-changing event that anyone I've ever been to. Going to an Empower event just makes you want to just change everything you're doing and just succeed in life, period. The words that come out of the leader's mouth was awesome. When Vic Streisholz, he did his speech, I've seen almost 6,000 people's jaws dropped after his presentation. I saw half of them get all in at the event. I seen a quarter of the others that didn't get, that were just in the basic $25, they moved up to either the Costa Rica or the 15K after one speech. Because what these leaders are pretty much telling you is their life story, and they're no different from me and you. So that makes a big difference. They don't want to be called gurus because they're not gurus. They're just regular human beings like me and you, finally made a decision in their life to be where they're at now. And that's what this team is all about. So, what are you guys waiting for? Make that decision, get in, take that final step, and join this team right here. The link is right there at the bottom. It's the big yellow button on the bottom. Get in. If not, go back to the person who invited you to this hangout and talk to them and getting in. But I'm telling you right now, it is a decision that you're going to want to make, and it's a big decision that you will not regret. I mean, there's a lot of decisions that we make that we regret, but this is one of them that you won't. We have a strong team here. We have a good backing. You have strong individuals. Ulu is a strong woman. I mean, she's going to school. She does empower. She does what she can to succeed. Mark has done everything. Did you guys listen to his story? He sold his furniture just to get to the next event. He sold his furniture with a vision to fill his house back up with new and improved furniture, because that's how it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Carmen is an awesome leader. If you guys ever have a chance, go to one of her meetings. I know she has meetings out in Canada, and they all come together and they watch, she does a presentation. Get out there. If you're in Canada, go see Carmen. Get a hold of her. You're not going to regret anything that you do with us. And Carmen, I just wanted to say that I'm actually thinking about doing something like that and just talking to people in sense that want to make it in this type of industry, to go ahead and we'll sit down and talk, and then they'll help them make a decision on what they want to do with their lives. We can't make the decisions for them. That's why we say help with the decision, and that's just how it is. I mean, you're not going to get any sugarcoating from me. As long as you guys have been watching me on these hangouts, you just don't know what comes out of my mouth. So that's what I have to say about making decisions. The decisions that we make, good or bad, and I'm calling you guys out. Are you ready to make a real decision right now?
Thank you.
Can I add?
Go ahead.
Daniel said a lot of things. Number one, we do have an awesome team. We really do. The thing is, you got to take action too. If you join our team, you got to take action, because we're gonna say, hey, do this. But if you don't do it, that's all on you. Yeah? The reason why we're here and the reason why we're still in after more than 90 days is because we found value in joining this team, because we took action. We don't all make money right away. Not everybody does. That depends on you. That depends on your mental situation. That depends on a lot of different factors, right? But for me personally, I didn't make any money for about the first, I think, 6 weeks. But it didn't matter, because I found value in this right away. And it goes back to what Mark was saying about making a decision. The value that I found in this team, in this business, was directly related to the fact that I decided I was going to do it no matter what. So that was one thing important I really wanted to say, and there was something else and I forgot what it was already.
That's why I make notes while people are talking. Yeah, those are great points, all of them. And you're right, this is a great team that we have. We have our private Facebook page. Anytime anybody's got a question, I've been stuck trying to figure something out, and I'll just pop onto that Facebook page, and I'll put my question on there, and literally within like a minute, I've got an answer to that problem. And I'm like, ooh. And then, there's like 5 more right behind it. Oh, yeah, but try this on top of that. And, it just gets better and better and better. You're having a bad day. You post on there that you're having a bad day, and within 30 minutes, you've got 40 comments of people giving you support and building you up. It really is a great, great family to be a part of. If you're going to be in a business of this type, you're going to be on a team of people somewhere. One of those important factors is making sure they're a team of people that you like and that are going to be there for you. And I can testify to the fact that that is definitely true here in this team. And Daniel mentioned a couple of roadblocks early on when he was telling his story there. And real quick, I want to tell a story about Rosa and I. Rosa's from Honduras, and she makes like the world's greatest salsa ever. And so one of the many business opportunities that we have tried was we were going to make our own salsa, and we were going to package it, and we were going to sell it in grocery stores. We got to the point where we were making about 6 cases of this stuff a week and just selling it ourselves to friends and whatnot. We were making a little bit of money, a little extra money, but we weren't official. We needed to get a commercial kitchen, which was a huge investment. Anytime you want to start a real brick and mortar business, there is that huge cash outlay. You're not getting a business for $25 out in the physical world, that's for sure. That's the one advantage to being here. But anyway, we were going to get that commercial kitchen. We were going to strike it rich, selling salsa, and literally 9 out of 10 people that loved this stuff became repeat customers. It was that fantastic. And so we were going to get rich doing that. But as I'm putting the business together, I'm running up against food regulations and building codes and different, investment things, getting capital together. I'm running up against all these roadblocks, and a couple of times I let those roadblocks stop me or stop our progress in that salsa business. And I just stood there looking at that block, whatever it was, that roadblock. And I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I looked at it until I got to a point in my life where I just got tired of looking at it. And my dream of success was bigger than my fear, and I grabbed a hold of that roadblock, and I said, you are moving, and I am making progress. And when I did that, I found out every time that those perceived roadblocks were just that. They were in my mind. They were nothing, literally, in many cases, nothing that didn't even apply to our business. And I had set it up in my mind as some insurmountable obstacle, but as soon as I confronted it, it quite literally was a paper tiger that I just brushed aside with my hand, and we went on. Rosa then got carpal tunnel syndrome, and that was the end of the salsa business, but that's why we're so grateful for this opportunity, is because we can do it anywhere. We can live anywhere we want to. It's typing. It's just the ideal business opportunity for us, and I know for somebody else out there too. So go click on the button that we've been telling you to go click on. You're not going to miss anything. Go start your life. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. Do something. And Ula made the point, you got to follow the decision with action. You can't just decide and then sit on the couch. Quite often people will watch that movie The Secret, and they'll say the power of the mind brings everything you need to you. Well, not if all you do is literally just sit on the couch. At some point, you do have to get up and go do something to make those things happen. You have to follow that decision with some action. And that, in this case, means go click on that button down there. And that brings us to the secret of success. Make the decision, take the action, and then keep going. Keep going. Keep going. If you run up against an obstacle, you climb it, you tunnel under it, you go around it, you don't sleep that night until you figure it out, you sell your furniture to make it happen, you do whatever you need to do to get where you want to be. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. To expect anything else is just insane. People keep saying, well, I'm going to be rich one day working at their, $10 an hour job. How? How are you going to be? You're going to win the lottery and what the odds of that are? Make a decision, do something different about your life, and have those things that you want. Have those cars, have those homes, have those charitable donations, have those whatever it is that you want to be able to do, go do it. Make the decision and go and do it. So very quickly, we've got about maybe 15 minutes left here. I'd like for you guys to talk about maybe some obstacle or roadblock that you were up against at some point in your life, whether it concerned this business or some other situation. Think about that for a second and tell us the story of how you overcame that particular roadblock, because what I'm almost positive is going to happen is you're going to tell us that as soon as you made the decision to conquer the roadblock, it was already conquered. Uh, I know that to be true in my own life. I have let so many things stop me. I have been so afraid. I've spent so many days in my life afraid, and I have wasted so much time, and I am not going to be afraid anymore. I have made a decision. I am taking action. There is no fear, and there is only movement forward, and there is only success from this point on, because I decided that that's the way it was going to be. All right. Who's got a story about a roadblock that you overcame?
Well, I can tell you, sorry, Mark. First of all, brilliant. Make that decision, take action, move forward. Make that decision to change your life. Take action on it. Click the yellow button below, and then keep going, no matter what the roadblocks. You know, you're talking about roadblocks. One of the biggest things that I have seen is an expression. I've used it before a lot, and it took me 8 months to start making an income with Empower Network because of this expression. And it was Empower Network that allowed me to take that expression and throw it in the garbage. That expression is "I can't." And I hear it so often. I hear it in my own team members now. I can't. What can you not? What is it? That's a roadblock. It's really a roadblock, and we just create it out of nowhere without even knowing what the roadblock actually is. We just say, I can't. And I just want to put everything that we've talked about together in my story. It all started, I got in October, end of October, at Empower Network, and the next event was in Austin in January. So I had plenty of time to get ready for it, but I wasn't even looking into going on an event because I wasn't there yet. I didn't know how I could make it. I didn't know the value of an event. It wasn't important enough for me. But I got in up till the Costa Rica, so I did invest quite a bit in the business. And Kayla, I got on a call with Kayla, who happens to be my sponsor, and he said, you know what, Carmen, don't buy any more products if you can't afford it, but get yourself to the event. My first words, I can't. He said, there's no way you can't. Forget that expression. Right now, decide that you will, and the rest will just happen. And I kept saying it. I can't. Kayla, I can't. You know, my kids, my dogs, my this. I came up with all the excuses under the sky. And finally he said, you can. Believe that you can, and you will make it happen. Believe me when I tell you that I believe in you. You can, and it will happen almost like magic. And so while I was on Skype with him, I went ahead and bought my ticket. It was $127, nothing major, so I can afford it. And in the back of my head, I was still saying, you know what, it's only $127. If I can't make it, you know, it's not a big loss. I'll probably be able to sell it to someone and so forth. So I didn't believe in myself so much, but I had someone else believing in me. And the decision was made because, first of all, I was holding myself accountable to him. He believed in me. I couldn't let him down. And then the other thing was basically I bought the ticket. So I had to, I kind of, the decision was a little more serious than just a blah, blah decision. And that was enough. It was enough for me to start getting things rolling, and things did happen magically. Just like Daniel was talking about before, for his trip to Chicago, it happened the same way for me in Austin. It just so happened that my mom had enough air miles. I flew on air miles. Just so happened that someone needed to bunk with someone else at the hotel room that she had already reserved, so I got a deal out of that. She was renting a car, so I drove around with her, and it cost me less. You know, things happened magically. The other thing that I was saying I can't was I'm single. I have an ex-husband that I don't have a very amicable relationship with. So I was saying, how can I disappear for a weekend and just drop the kids on him for a weekend? He usually doesn't take them that much. So, you know, it was again, I can't. How am I going to do this? So I said, no, you know what? It just a matter of asking, right? So I got on the phone and I said, hey, by the way, I'm going to be away from this date to this date, so you're going to need to take care of the kids. Is that okay? He goes, yeah, okay. And that was it. Like magic. I wasn't expecting that. In my head, I had made up, like Mark was saying, I had made that idea of the roadblock without it even existing. And I was creating the I can't. When I dismissed that expression, things started rolling. I gave it a chance and things started happening. Same things happen with the rest. I mean, I didn't have $1,000 to get the 15K. I didn't have $3,500 for the masters, but I made it happen. I stopped using that expression. Everything, instead of I can't, I still had the fear, I still, you know, had to work at it, but the expression was gone. And now all I could see was somehow I will make it happen. I don't know how. Somehow I will. And that somehow is enough to get you going. That somehow involves a decision that you will find a way, that the universe will help you, that you will have support from your team or from your family or from your friends, that you will find the resources that you need to make things happen. Things happen magically, but it all starts with a decision. And the decision to stop using that expression. There's no more I can't. It's always I can. Somehow I will make it happen. And yeah, that was my story. And that's the thing that I teach all of my team members. A lot of people, especially in this industry, they're going online, right? So they're afraid of the technical aspect of this work. They're afraid that they won't be able to put together the website for the blogging. They won't have creativity enough to be able to blog every day. They won't have enough time to do the things that they're supposed to do with the 8 core commitments. And they always come up with the I can't, I can't. And it was so revealing to me, actually, when I coached one of my team members through the I can't to get rid of that expression. She actually got online, and the first post that she wrote was about getting rid of the expression I can't, because it had been such a paralyzer for her. It was restricting her. It was chaining her. She finally understood that getting rid of that expression is what is going to free her to make that decision that she can really do something if she puts her mind to it, if she decides to say I can. And that was her first ever blog post online. She had probably wasted a year with the I can't, and there she was posting it, and I was so proud. I shared it with all my friends. She got comments from her friends. She got energized by it, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And that's what you can expect here. Making a decision to start creating change in your life, getting rid of that expression, saying that you can create change in your life. Click on the button below, get in, get the support from your friends, start creating the change that you want in your life. It starts today. And it's happening all around us. So it can happen for you too. And that's my story.
I'm clicking the button. You people, you're so inspiring. I love you guys. Seriously, the time we spent together in Denver, these hangouts that we do, you know, every week you get that rev and you get the excitement again. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go, woo! And you know, you're talking about the I can't, and you know, mindsets here is what we're talking about, really. And there's a quote that's attributed to Henry Ford, and I'm phrasing, but you'll know it. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. That's all it comes down to. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And around our house, we said a lot of I can'ts once upon a time. There were a lot of problems. We're like, we got all this problem, we got that problem. We laid around complaining all day. I got this problem, I got that problem. We can't do this, we can't do that. I can't afford it, I can't do this. And one day, I just decided we weren't going to do that anymore. And that was before we joined this business. I said, we've got a new catchphrase around here. Our new catchphrase is, there are only solutions. And anytime any challenge, not a problem, a challenge arose, we immediately started saying there are only solutions. There are only solutions. And we thought solution-oriented. How can we learn from this challenge and get past it? There are only solutions. There are only solutions. All right, a few minutes left. Anybody got another story?
I have
Go
one.
ahead. Okay.
The challenge for me was, like Mark said earlier, I actually I upgraded to the 15K last weekend actually. I actually upgraded to the Costa Rica and the 15K on the same day. So I only have one product left I need to purchase, and that's the master's course. But it took me a really long time to be able to upgrade to those because it is a financial investment, and I'm a graduate student. I make less than poverty level income, and so I make less than $10 an hour actually, and yeah, it was a challenge for me to be able to do that, but I decided that I was going to be able to do it. In the process of getting there, different challenges come up, and those obstacles come up, and they look huge. Like Mark was saying earlier, they look huge. And sometimes you have to grab that obstacle and tell them you don't exist. But sometimes you don't get to the point where you can make it disappear completely. Sometimes you don't get to the point where you can just go poof and you're gone. Sometimes you have to acknowledge that that obstacle is there and just walk around it instead. And when it came to going all in,